In every honesty, there has to be. In every honesty, there will be. The times are always the ally of one such which is looking for something rather than nothing. Okay, I admit that there are a few instances for me especially, which have driven me into becoming that person rather than becoming nothing. If I can say that in a more elaborate way, I was looking as a child when I was at the age of probably 8 or 9. I was hoping to look for something more prominent during then. It was of becoming a professor or a philosopher. I was good at it. I was good at making promises. In fact, I also told that yes, I would like to become one, to be aspired by one. Which brings me to that another question of such. If all the promises which I have made are to be meant to be aspired to become one, as a writer, as of the present, which I am still, I can look upon the ways that I had been, and I can still see that the very self of me, the very, not the childish, I wasn't being childish, I was being not inspired also, but I was being directed at one thing, despite the changes which I have made. But during that period, during that instance, which I have thought that I did promised, undeniably, there is no denying that I have promised to be more than what I am before. Again, different promises have directed into different grounds, and those promises, presupposably, in fact, evidently for me, have been more prominent for me, have been more, how do you call it? Have been more progressive. Progressive. It has been progressed into choices which I have made. So here I am as a writer. There is no denying it. As a writer, I can still look forwards upon the ways that I'm still headed. All there. But there is that little but. And that but brings out another question which I'm still looking to find it. And that is about, in such a period as I have mentioned beforehand, in such that period as a child, what I did was I was aspired to become one, to profess what I have deemed, to find it, to be aspired, to find the one little aspiration, to be more driven, to thrive upon one's own promises. I could never know that the feeling of such, to be more determinant, to have a little directive from the grounds of whom one can make their own decisions or the choices which comes to them. I can think of such. I can think of me, in fact, as a child before, in those days of my own past. It was good for me. I always thought that aspirations, I have always believed, if I could say it one more time, I have always believed that aspirations were kind of childish. To be inspired from one idealistic individual is not the way to go, because one couldn't narrow down the ways of his own or her own life into becoming or at least ignoring the very other probabilities of one's own life. Sure, I was holding that belief for a longer period than I had hoped it would be, and I'm still have gotten to be wronged about such. And I'm glad that I have been wronged about my own supposition about such, because as an individual who is predisposed to the times which are not constant, and so does one's own decisions, which are not constant. But and during those instances where one have been in such times of uncertainty, one have to be more predominantly determinant upon his own defining aspirations. That is the very fact which I was denying it, which I was not, which I was refusing to admit it. Aspirations are not childish. There is no denying for it. There is no refusing for such. Of to be more driven, to look at one's ideal and be more to get out of such, to be more enthused upon one's own words, to be more active, to just to be triggered by those ideas which are going to prompt you into a position where you have never been before. And I'm still glad that I was wronged, and I'm still getting wrong about such. That okay, what I'm saying is, I'm glad to be wronged in such a scenario, but where I have believed that aspirations die themselves down because of the times, because of uncertainty that one is being possessed with, or one is being faced across with, alongside it with. But screw it. What I'm saying is to be more. How about that? It is about to be more than what one can see themselves to be fitted in, to be out of their own predisposed zone, as they one call it, to be not be safe enough, to be more experimental, to be more exploitative, to be like that, to be more unrealistic, precisely, unrealistic within the grounds of reality, because those are what we aspire to be more explorative than one shall be. It is of that, I believe. Aspirations. It is one hell of a thing, which I'm not going to refuse it, which I'm not going to. I couldn't deny it. That is for sure. I couldn't deny for one's own significance when it comes down to be inspired by one's own ideal.